Are you the idiot in the room? That might be your superpower. This is Productivity Ace. Let's get it done. You may be familiar with the work of the excellent Simon Sinek. In the video I've linked down in the description, he explains why he feels that being so comfortable being the idiot in the room, the one that doesn't understand something in a room full of people that do understand something. The basic premise of Be the Idiot isn't obviously to come across as an idiot, it's to extol the advantages and benefits of being somebody that will happily ask questions to clarify their understanding of discussion points that they may not be following. Or, as we'll see, to ask questions that they already know the answers to. Why would somebody do that? Sinek states that he's always ultra comfortable with asking the simplest of questions in forums and meetings with the goal of bringing his own knowledge up to speed. But what other advantages are there to being the one that asks all the questions in the meeting? Why should you always be comfortable being the idiot? Why should you bother asking all of those questions? Well, let's take a look at some of the benefits of asking lots of questions. You build self-confidence. The ability to ask questions in forums or meetings isn't something that everybody has. In fact, it's actually a skill that takes time to build up over time and with experience. We've all been there early in our careers where we pluck up the courage to ask a question and our voice begins to crack halfway through and we start to sweat, our breathing gets tighter and we barely get to the end of what we're trying to say. And it's super obvious to everybody and we know everyone's watching. As with anything outside the comfort zone, familiarity and comfort is brought on by exposure and practice. The more you ask questions, the easier it will get. I set myself the challenge of asking one question in every management forum or presentation I attended for a whole year. And while I didn't quite manage it every time, I certainly built my confidence to a level where asking a question became second nature and something I actually wanted to do and looked forward to doing. So keep asking the questions and watch that confidence grow. Asking questions helps you teach. Asking simple questions or the questions that get to the basic concept of what's being discussed are really useful when it comes to breaking complex concepts down into their base parts. And once you can understand the basic building blocks of the topic being discussed, then you can easily articulate it to others, thus spreading that knowledge and helping everyone else's learning. If you don't get those foundational concepts, then you might be able to work around the topic, but you won't pass the acid test, which is being able to teach it to somebody else. You act as the icebreaker. In many teams, there's still a psychological reluctance to be the first one to break the ice and ask a question, especially if those questions are pretty basic. And if you're the manager in the team, then you may find that members of your own team won't want to ask those basic questions because they fear that you as the boss won't be impressed, that they don't have the understanding of the topic already. So they'll actually hold back on asking those questions and continue through the meeting without the right understanding because they truly won't want to be the idiot in the room. If you as a manager can take the first step, ask the first basic question and establish those foundations of the topic being discussed, then you'll almost be able to feel the sense of relief on the call. It's human nature. And it's especially common with newer or junior members of a team or people of an introverted nature. So you as a manager and leader can actually be a real supporter for your own team in calls like this. If you can be the one to be the idiot in the room, then you'll save your own team a lot of potential stress and they'll grow to appreciate that a lot. In fact, I've been known to be the idiot in the room when I've even known the answers to the questions. On some occasions, I've suspected or known that my own team might not have the level of understanding of the topic being discussed that they should have. And I'll also be aware that they don't want to stick their necks out and be the idiot in the room to ask those basic questions. So I'll save them the trouble and I'll ask those questions myself, even though I know the answer. That way I get the focus of being the idiot, which I'm perfectly fine with, and my team get their knowledge gaps filled. Sort of taking one for the team, I guess. This all helps to make your team feel more comfortable and creates that safe, supportive environment. Obviously, you'd be happy if everybody was comfortable being the idiot, but human nature dictates that that won't be the case. Me, I'm fine with it if it benefits my team. Before the next tips, sign up to our newsletter. We've got free access to leadership courses, ebooks, loads more information, and also book a career clinic session. If you want to talk one-on-one with me about your own leadership challenges, all the links are in the description. Don't assume everyone else knows. This is something Sinek touches on in his video. Many times people pretend to understand the topic of conversation because they don't want to be the idiot. And this can happen a lot in meetings involving senior folks where some organisations expect their senior leaders to know absolutely everything. Some cultures where showing vulnerability is frowned on or carries negative career-limiting connotations. Basically, most meetings will contain a section of the audience that is struggling to understand the topic or could benefit from a breakdown. And if you're the one to initiate those questions or the analysis, then you'll often see others follow with their own basic questions. but they've been waiting for somebody else to take the lead and stick their hand up to be the idiot in the room. Being the idiot in the room really isn't as drastic as it sounds. Keeping quiet when you don't understand something just leads to a compromised level of understanding and slower learning than if you'd raised your hand and said, "Excuse me, can we break that down again, please?" And as leaders and managers, it's vital that we show a level of vulnerability and a demonstration that no, we don't know it all. And sometimes there are basics we don't know, but the most important thing is that we know we don't know, and we're comfortable admitting we don't know. And we want to fill those knowledge gaps, to leave the meeting with a greater level of knowledge, a greater level of skills than we had before it started. There's no shame in being the one that asks questions. And getting into that habit not only builds skills and understanding, but also contributes significantly to greater self-confidence and trust amongst your teams. If you want to hear more from Simon Sinek, we've got a great top 5 video from him up here and loads more information on our leadership channel, Productivity Ace. So click it, I'll go over there, give it a try, and I'll see you there.